Hello, my name is Izzy and I am learning ASL, is what I just signed. I am learning ASL through an online course that I'm currently making this video for. With taking that class, I've learned a new skill. That skill has opened up gateways and new opportunities for me. How may you ask? Well, with learning sign language, that opens up a job opportunity of being a sign language interpreter. That is something that I may want to do in the future, considering that it can be a part-time job or a full-time job, making a pretty good amount of pay. Currently in my life, would I do that? No. But it is definitely something I should look forward to for the future. So that leaves me having to ask myself the question, what are the steps that I need to take to become a sign language interpreter, and how do I do that? So what are the steps of becoming a sign language interpreter? First, you're going to want to learn the language, whether that's through an online course such as what I'm taking myself, a college class, or learning it through friends or family that also sign in sign language. You can also learn sign language through YouTube videos or other online resources. The next important step to do while you're learning the language is practice it. You want to make sure that you're practicing sign language with friends and families, so when you do have an encounter with an actual deaf person, it doesn't go like this. Hi. I am hearing. Nice to meet you. I am learning ASL. My name, Chad. I think that was a pretty good example of why it's important to practice your sign language, especially before you put yourself in situations like this. So, what are the steps now that you know sign language to become an interpreter? First, you want to find an organization to get your certification through. When going through all these processes, it is very important to consider the state that you're in, because a lot of the different things that you have to go through to become an ASL interpreter varies state from state. One thing that does not change state from state, though, is the fact that you will have to take a test no matter what. For an organization or a company that's hiring, they're going to make you take a test no matter what, or no matter what your organization. There's different organizations that you can go to get certification testing. For example, the RSD is an organization that is a nonprofit run. They help prepare you for your tests and learn about deaf culture. Then through a series of a written test, a performed interview, and other tasks, you can get your certification, the NIC. For a lot of these courses and tests, you also require a degree. A degree is not required among all states, but it's required among most. And sometimes you can be exempt if you have a deaf parent or a deaf sibling. This is because sign language is their second language, and they don't really need to go through a teaching course to learn it. Once you got your degree and you've gone through the verification process of the RSD and the NIC, you can go on and get hired and get a job as long as you're verified. You might have to go through different tests, like I said before, but that's pretty much it, and that's how to become a sign language interpreter. Through learning the language and putting yourself into the culture and talking to actual deaf people through using sign language itself, you can really do a lot just with that itself. But also, like I said, you need to get a degree, you need to go through verification process, take many tests, and get certified to become a sign language interpreter. Now, what are some jobs that a sign language interpreter might even be used for? Well, for example, a teacher is a good job. Many resource classrooms need ASL teachers because it's not very common. Also, sometimes at concerts they have ASL interpreters and you'll see them jamming out with the performers, having fun and signing away. Also, social workers, along with lawyers, might need to hire a sign language interpreter to help them with cases. The interpretation of sign language and the job of someone actually needing to do it is very important, and it might not seem important to the average person, but the average person isn't deaf. And for deaf people, communication is something that should be a given right, but it hasn't been. So having a sign language interpreter there gives them the opportunity to be able to communicate. Because sometimes having friends and family and the people around you knowing sign language isn't enough to just communicate on your own. And that's it. Thank you for watching my video. Bye!